Hi, I'm Neale Walsh, the founder of Humanities Team and a Council of Trustees member. I'm very excited about something that I'd like to share with you. Humanities Team has created a university so that it can provide tools for living in oneness. We've decided to create the university after hearing from you. Many of you have shared that you're looking for tools to live in oneness in your own life, in a relationship with a significant other, or with your family, or in the workplace. The Humanities Team University is dedicated to providing tools for living in oneness in all of those areas. I'd like to invite you to check out the Humanities Team University area on our website. That's at www.humanitiesteam.org. You can find current courses that we're offering and the schedule for these courses. I'd like to share with you now some free tools for living with oneness, particularly for living with that part of the common experience of humanity called change. How to live in a world of change and how to navigate in a world that is undergoing rapid change and transformation. These tools come from the book, When Everything Changes, Change Everything. I think it's one of the most important books that I've ever created, and I hope that you'll give it a chance in your life. Buy it, get it, read it, apply it in your life, embrace its fundamental principles. Once we understand that change is a part of the life that's experienced by all of us, we'll be able to move into the experience of oneness, realizing that no one of us, that is, no single person, is experiencing change greater than or more than any other person. In other words, my point is that change is happening to all of us all the time. Sometimes we think that people are going through enormous upheaval or change in their life, and somehow that separates them from the larger pool of humanity. In fact, all of us are experiencing change all the time, and that is an aspect of our oneness. Change is a demonstration, it's a reflection, it's an expression of our oneness. And that's true because change is an expression of God. There's a thought that you may never have heard before. Change is an expression of God. God told us in conversations with God, in fact, that God is change. If we could find one word that could describe God, it would be the word change. Change, of course, is a process, so God tells us that God is a process, another brand new way of experiencing this thing that we call divinity. If we understand that God is a process, and the process is called change, and if we know that we are all one with God, then we know that we are all one with that process. That is why I can tell you categorically that change is occurring in the lives of all of us all the time. Now here's the important trick: how to deal with change in a way that allows change to change you in a way that you prefer. In most people's lives, change changes us. That is, a change that's occurring in our exterior life produces changes in our interior life, in our way of being, in our way of moving through the world. I'm sorry to say that in many cases, those changes can sometimes be not so wonderful. We may become angry, we may become upset, we may become depressed, we may become deeply disappointed, we may become resentful. We may embrace and engage some particular negative experience or response, some particular negative emotion as our response and reaction to change itself. Now, what this extraordinary book allows us to do is to change the way change is changing you, especially if the changes that are occurring inside of you as a result of the changes that are constantly occurring outside of us are changing you in ways that you do not prefer. So let me give you right now a list of 9 changes that can change everything. Yes? Change number 1. When change is occurring in your life, and we're talking now about unexpected, unwanted, unbidden, unwelcome change. Yes? Which is occurring in the lives of all of us all the time. Again, I want to repeat. When I talk to audiences about this and I ask people, how many of you have had a major change, not a small change, but a really major shift occur in your life in the past 24 months or so, 95% of the hands go up. And that's true in every audience to which I address this question. So let's take a look now at these 9 changes that can change everything. When changes occur in your life, change your decision to go it alone. That's the first thing I want to tell you very quickly here. Most of us recede into ourselves. We don't want to bother anybody else with our problems, with our troubles. We don't want to reveal ourselves sometimes to other people in a way that would leave us kind of naked and vulnerable. So many people tend to just curl in a way on ourselves, hide out as it were. Often we actually do that. We go to our room actually, and we won't come out for a couple of hours or for a couple of weeks. Some people have done it for longer than that. So the first change that we recommend is change your decision to go it alone. Find help. Find someone else. Find somebody in the helping professions. Find a friend, a helpmate in your life, a companion. Talk to someone about it and get assistance right away. By the way, if you'd like to know how you can find that kind of resource, go to the website at www.changingchange.net. www.changingchange.net. There, a team of spiritual helpers is available to give you a response within 24 hours to any posting that you enter there, seeking assistance, help, and companionship on your spiritual journey as you encounter the experience of change. Number 2, change your choice of emotions. Did you know that emotions are experiences? They're mental expressions, if you please, that we can select, that we in fact do select. Emotions are not things that overcome us. They're things that come through us and from us, and we decide on them quite consciously. Now, it's true that the decisions that we make about the emotions that we are experiencing are made very quickly, as fast as you can snap your finger. But that doesn't mean that we are not deciding on them. It just means that we are choosing them very quickly, which makes it feel as if we've been overcome by emotion, or that the emotion is more or less an automatic response. But it need not be an automatic response, and inside of this book, you'll find out how to change it from an automatic response, or what seems like one, to a response that's more deliberately, intentionally, and consciously chosen. That's the second change that we suggest that can change the way change changes you. The third change we suggest is to change your choice of thoughts. Your thoughts will proceed from the truth that you hold about the event in question, the changing event, that which has occurred that's brought a change into your life. So in order to change your thoughts about the event that has produced change in your life, you're going to want to change your truth about that event. It's possible to change your truth about that event, which is, by the way, the next item on our list, change your choice of truths. It's possible to change your truth about an event, actually, because truth comes in many varieties. There's the imagined truth. There is the actual truth. There is the apparent truth about whatever change has occurred in your life. Be careful you don't get caught up in the imagined truth, which is where most people find themselves when change suddenly occurs in their life, unbidden, unwelcome, unwanted change. So you're invited to change your choice of truths, to look carefully and deeply at what has actually happened and at the truth about that. The next change that we suggest is to change your idea about change itself. Most people consider change to be interruptive. That is, something that's happening to us that shouldn't have been happening, that's stopping your life from proceeding in the way you wanted it to proceed. It's kind of an interruption, and sometimes not a very welcome one, often not. So we invite you to change your idea about change itself, to decide that, no, wait a minute, change is not an interruption. It's simply the next step in an ongoing process called the evolution of our human soul. And it's not happening to us, it's happening through us as part of the process by which we recreate ourselves anew in the next grandest version of the greatest vision ever we held about who we are. So when we reorganize our thoughts around what change itself is, we don't see it as a calamity or as an interruption, but as a continuation of an ongoing life journey, what is called the sacred journey that serves the agenda of the soul, that meets the divine purpose of life itself. So again, here in this book, a lot is written about how you can change your idea about change itself and the role that change plays in your life. And once you understand the true role of change, as I said before, that change is really God, another word for God, you will actually get to a place where you welcome change, even feel okay about unwelcome, unbidden, unexpected change. This is a major recontextualization of your experience of change itself. The next on our list, change your idea about why change occurs. And I've just talked a little bit about that. Not just changing your idea about the nature of change, that it's not an interruption, it's a continuation, but changing your idea about why change occurs. That change occurs because it is part of the process of life itself, and that its purpose, the purpose of all change, is to move you from the direction in which you were going, because that direction does not serve the agenda of your soul. I have learned in my life that every single change that has occurred for my benefit. It has brought me back on the path of my soul, serving once again the agenda of my soul, and veered me away from, could I put it that way, or focused me away from a place that I was heading that had little or nothing to do with the agenda of my soul. And I've talked to a lot of people through the years, thousands of people, and asked them the following question. How many of you have experienced a change in your life that you thought was the worst thing that could ever have happened to you, only to find out a few weeks, months, or perhaps a year or two later that it was one of the best things that ever happened to you? I asked that question of audiences everywhere, and again, 90% of the hands in the room go up. It's a very common human experience. Now, wisdom is understanding what that experience is telling us before we have it. That is, wisdom is knowing ahead of time that the next change that occurs is going to be a change to your benefit, and it's just a matter of time before you realize that. Returning to our list, you're invited to change your idea about future change. If you think that change is something that is going to occur, it's part of the process of life. Okay, you got that now. We understand. But we're not really clear why future change occurs. What is the idea you hold about future change? This book talks a lot about that as well. Now, it suggests, and this is going to be hard for most of us to grasp and to embrace and to acknowledge, but the book suggests that future change, in fact, occurs because we want it to. That is, it makes it clear that all future change is a product of our own devising, the outcome of our own decisions. That we are responsible for the co-creative process with other souls involved with us that we call life itself. So you're invited to change your idea about future change, and the biggest idea you can change about future change is the idea that you can't control it. What if you decided that you were far more in control of the future changes that will occur in your life than you ever thought that you could be? But how? How could you control that? What tools would you use with which to control future change? That's what this book is all about. When everything changes, change everything, including your idea about how future change occurs. Then finally, change your idea about life and change your identity. Change your idea about life means to change your understanding of what this whole process is for, of its purpose. It's very, as the French say, raison d'être. Why are we here? What are we up to? What is the true meaning and purpose of all of this? And finally, change your identity. Who do you think you are? My father used to say to me when I was a child, who do you think you are anyway? Good question. In fact, it is the most profound single question of life itself. If who you think you are is a tiny aspect of divinity, but no less divine than any other aspect of divinity, as a drop of water might be to the ocean itself. It is, in fact, the ocean in singular form, and so are you, in fact, divinity in singular form. If you change your identity, that is, change the idea that you hold, change your notion about who you are in relationship to the rest of the universe, it can, and I suspect will, change your entire experience of life. That's a very rapid look, a very quick look at 9 important tools that can change the way change changes you. Again, this book, When Everything Changes, Change Everything, takes a look at those 9 suggestions in depth and will provide you with important and powerful tools to assist you in experiencing oneness, because the oneness of humanity is a singular expression of the process of life, which is called change itself. I'm Neale Donald Walsch. I hope that you'll investigate Humanities Team University, where you'll find wonderful, wonderful courses that can change your life. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to tell you all about that.